Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at Moss Nissan in Newport Richey, and guess what? We have that redesign of the smallest SUV here at your Nissan dealership. It's this vehicle right here. This is the redesign, all new 2025 Kicks. This particular one is an SV trim. But before we get into this small size SUV, but with some pretty big surprises, let's talk about what's going on here. So we all know that car prices are getting worse. They've been bad, and now they're getting worse when it comes to high prices on a lot of new vehicles. With this particular Kicks, it's all about affordability. Now, it's one thing to go affordability and have a bare bones, basically 4 wheels and 2 seats worth of a vehicle to get you down the road to save money. But I think you're going to be surprised, like I said, with some of the big surprises, the big things that it has in store for you in this small size Kicks. So what I want to find out is this Kicks the most affordable, smaller, that subcompact crossover SUV segment? We're talking about vehicles like the Mazda CX-30, the Volkswagen Tiguan, the Chevrolet Trax, so on and so forth. Why don't we go ahead, let's dive into this one and find out. Right off the bat, actually pretty tasteful color. It's called Canyon Bronze. It's new for 2025, and it gives it a nice classy look. At the front of the business, you're gonna notice all new styles. So you're gonna have LED headlights, very, very sporty how they black out the whole interior, LED daytime running lamps and turn signals, and then a little bit of silver trim to kind of be the bookend on that V-Motion grille. And then as we come down, you got a little bit more bronze, and then you got this textured flat black. Now, the reason why they did this design is to make it look like a sneaker, like a shoe, like a kick, pair of kicks. So kind of cute how they're doing the playing with the name and bringing some of that style to it. Now, as we come across that front grille area, you have your gloss black across the brow, and then you have your horizontal bars, all gloss black, some bronze, and then I like the way they did the flat black on the lower portion with that texturized trim. But definitely the Kicks has really come into its own when it comes into style. The last one was a little bland, let's be honest. And I've never really been a fan of the vehicle that came before the Kicks, which was the Nissan Juke. The styling on that was really, really bizarre, but I'm really digging the look of this. Remember, we're all talking about price point. We're not comparing this to a Cadillac or a Lamborghini, just so we're on the same page. Now, as we rise up, love the way the hood fits nice and clean with that top brow piece. Everything kind of just flows up and over, and it's gonna give you 2 nice visual reference points as you're going down the road. And if you notice, there's a lot of metal flake in this Canyon Bronze, more metal flake than your grandpa's balls. His bowling balls can't touch the amount of metal flake that's in this paint job, just saying. Now, as we come around the bend, we got all new wheels, and what's nice is they bring some style. You have some painted silver accents with the gloss black. We have the Kicks name embossed in the wheel itself, and if you're wondering, well, Joe, what is the size of this wheel? You're looking at a 17-inch wheel. Tires are 245 on the width, 60 series sidewall, and yes, there is a little bit of a flat black around the fender opening, but when you compare it to vehicles like the CX-30 or even the Subaru Crosstrek, this is very minimal flat black cladding. Those other ones that I just mentioned, they go a little overboard. But let me know what you think about the wheel style on this particular trim. This is SV. Now, as we come back towards the side, you have more of that Canyon Bronze, little Easter eggs. They put the Kicks name in the support for your side mirror. Overall, this is one of the larger subcompacts. So you look at vehicles like the Tiguan, you look at this Kicks, they're really borderline on that subcompact compact, which is gonna give you some good room on the interior. No roof rails, I'm fine with that. No sunroof on the SV trim. You just have some bright shiny metalwork trim along the tops of the windows. Like the color match on the door handles. And I'm totally digging the flat black with that sneaker style design and the silver that matches the silver on the wheels. Now, as we come towards the rear, the trim kind of flares into this butter knife. So if you got some bread you need to butter, you got the style right there. It's got the Kicks name in the glass. That's another Easter egg. I feel like a big Easter bunny right now with all these Easter eggs. And then when we get to the back, it actually looks pretty good. I have to admit, one of my favorite parts is how it really flares out into that quarter panel. You got your LED lighting. There's no Thomas Edison light bulb in there. Nice long roof spoiler. I'm not gonna zonk the wiper at this price point, but that is a nice long roof spoiler. And then just like up front, a little bit of gloss black with the Nissan badge, and then getting down to ground level, super clean on the lower portion with some flat black and then some body color. But why don't we go ahead, we talked about the exterior, why don't we go pop the hood and see what's powering this Kicks. All right guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod, not gonna zonk it at this price point. What do we got going on underneath the hood? Well, what you're looking at is the standard engine, and there's one engine. The good news is there's more horsepower for model year 2025. It's a 2-liter inline 4 that now produces 191 horsepower, 140 pound-feet of torque. You can get all-wheel drive. Ours is front-wheel drive. You can get all-wheel drive. The zonk is that it's still paired to a CVT. 0 to 60, don't race anybody with a walker. Nobody with a walker or a cane, because 0 to 60 in this thing is 9 seconds. Top speed is 120 miles an hour. It takes about 120 hours to get to 120 miles per hour. And then MPGs, this is where you're gonna look good. 27 in the city, 34 on the highway, and the vehicle weighs right around 3,100 pounds. So nice to see, naturally aspirated, non-complicated horsepower. Nice to see more horsepower for 2025. Not so nice to have the CVT. Let's just call it what it is. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up this Kicks and do some walking. All right guys, we're inside this 2025 Nissan Kicks SV trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, my son will not move out of the house. He's 35 years old. I can't get rid of him. He says I have to buy him a new car, then he'll leave. And it has to be a crossover SUV. He won't take a sedan. I was gonna get him a Mitsubishi Mirage. He won't take it. How much is this Kicks though? I think this might be the winning lotto ticket for me to get my son out of the house finally at the ripe young age of 35. How much is it? Well, first of all, I feel your pain. I feel sorry for you. Second of all, let's see if we could get it done with this one. MSRP is $24,000. Quite inexpensive in today's automotive atmosphere, but let's see if your son's gonna have to pack up and hit the road to the door panels. I do like the clean style. What I am gonna zonk though, even at this price point, is the hard plastic up top. I wish on the SV trim they could have done some soft touch up top. But you don't have any gloss black around the switchgear, and I like the way they put some grooves in there to make it look like wood. And then you have cloth on the center armrest of the door panel, the center portion of the door panel. Door pocket is a little tight, so maybe 2 cheeseburgers and a large strawberry shake to wash it down. That's it from Mickey D's. Now going from the door panel to the dash, look at the way you got some two-tone stitching. I think your son is gonna be happy for that. The cloth, it's not my favorite, but we're trying to think about price point here. It's a good material, it's gonna wear well. It's just not my favorite, but price point. Come on in, this is gonna get your son out of the house right now. 12.3 inches, your son wishes he had 12.3 inches of infotainment system screen, and now he could have it in this Kicks. All full touchscreen capability. Obviously, you can listen to the jams, you can rock out, especially Sirius XM. Nice to see all that. And then we're right back where we started. Let me throw it into reverse. Backup camera, the resolution is kind of grainy. Well, it is grainy, it's not kind of. but you do have trajectory, so he's not gonna back into somebody, and it does take up a good amount of that 12.3 inches, which is nice. Real deal volume knob. Manual controls for AC, but I'm fine with that. You know, you have your temperature, your blower, and then of course where you want that air to go. Start stop button, 2 USB-Cs, wireless charging. Yes, wireless charging at 24 Gs. This is gonna control the CVT. You got your different drive modes, which I'll show you that when you come to the business side. And then we have 2 large cup holders. Soft material on the armrest, open it up. You have a 12 volt and enough room, I would say, for 2 bags of nuts. So if your son loves nuts in his mouth, you know, when he's eating his snacks and stuff, you could put 2 small bags of maybe peanuts, maybe some cashews, or Lori's favorite, pistachios. Lori loves pistachios. I'm the cashew guy. Seats, they are cloth, but I like the style to them. The 2-tone, same material that's on the door panel and whatnot, and they did some nice texture. Manual adjustment for the passenger, manual adjustment for the driver. Don't ask me about a sunroof. There isn't one on the SV trim. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I got a flat bottom steering wheel with your son's name on it. Come on over, I'll show you. Business time behind the wheel in this 2025 Kicks. You do have your manual seat controls. The good news is they're very easy to figure out. You don't need a college degree. Sitting here, seats are comfy. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom. Steering wheel, it does have that urethane wheel. I wish that it was at least vinyl or pleather or something, but it is flat bottom and it's all flat black on the switch gear. You do have a manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And then they did a very creative thing with the space. So instead of giving you a 12.3 inch digital gauge cluster, you have this small 6-inch digital gauge cluster for your tachometer and whatnot. And you could actually scroll through different information there, which is kind of nice. And then you have this other digital display for your speedometer and your fuel gauge. Going into the modes, there's your 3 modes, Sport, Standard, and Eco. Nice to have that. And let me know what you think about this area over there. It kind of bothers me, I'll be honest. I wish what they should have done was taken this, make this a little larger, and get rid of that. So I am gonna zonk that. It looks like an old Casio watch or some Casio watch sign or something from 1988. But other than that, very, very well organized on the interior. Let's get in the back seat and see if your son's friends, if he even has any friends, are gonna enjoy sitting back there. All right, guys, back seat time. And even though this is a subcompact, I feel like the backseat passengers even have more headroom than the people sitting up front. Seats are comfy, my knees aren't too high. They carved the back out like a watermelon or a pumpkin on Halloween to give you a little bit more leg room. No connectivity. That's a zonk. At least give me a freaking 12 volt back here, come on. I do have a pocket. What you're probably gonna wanna put back here is one of those battery banks where they could, your passengers can charge back there, especially if your son does have friends, because usually if friends let other friends' devices not recharge, usually they don't become friends anymore. So if your son has at least a friend, it would break my heart to see him lose that friend. So just something to think about. No center armrest, so if you're sitting in the back seat, punch the other passenger in the kidney, they will fall over and then you could use them as your armrest. But the seats do have the same nice texture as the ones up front, which is great. But why don't we go ahead, let's get that cargo area, because I want to take you for a spin in this Kicks. All right, guys, time to get in that cargo area. It is manual opening, but it's very light, easy to open. You're gonna be greeted to actually a very generous amount of room for such a small vehicle. 24 cubic feet of space with the seats up. Fold the seats down, you basically double that. It's 50 cubic feet of space. Like the way they have the required Twinkie box notches on both sides. So 2 Twinkie boxes can fit in here. And then underneath, you don't get a spare. They give you, sort of looks like a spare, but it's not. You actually get a can of Flat Fix and a electric air compressor. But one thing I want to show you, watch this magic trick. Oh yeah, you want more room? I'll give you more room. I just lower the cargo floor. Bam! Nice to have the capability. If you need to get that large TV at Costco, you can get it. And then of course you have one of these. This is where you give it to somebody and you tell them, stick this where the sun doesn't shine. See if they enjoy that. Whoa! I'm gonna put all this back very nicely underneath. If you're ready, I was born ready. Let's go for a little spin in this Kicks. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Nissan Kicks. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into sport mode. That's gonna change how the transmission and the engine behave with one another, and also the steering sensitivity and the throttle sensitivity. Right away, even though the seats are manual, they are comfortable and very, very supportive. I find that in most Nissans, to be honest with you. Great visibility out the windshield, easy to get to that 12.3-inch infotainment system screen. And then even though this is a little wonky on the digital gauge cluster, it is easy to see the information lickety split. Visibility out the back is great, and of course, being the front wheel drive version, you're really gonna have better MPGs than the all-wheel drive Kicks. But a little bit of extra horsepower has never hurt anybody, and it's just really, really smooth and capable. Because remember, we're talking about price point here. Let's go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. Simulated shifts with the CVT. And that's one of the things. It's like, it's nice that they could program in some simulated shifts to keep that RPM drone to a minimum. And the big plus with a CVT is it does get you better MPGs. But I would prefer a traditional torque converter automatic transmission. Steering feels good. The chassis is really nicely done. It doesn't feel like an inexpensive car. It actually drives very well for its price point. With the 4-cylinder being naturally aspirated, it is linear torque delivery. And you know, with these kind of vehicles, it's not about street racing somebody. It's about getting yourself from point A to point B, having some amenities, and trying not to break the bank. Let's see how the U-turn action goes here. Look at that, nice. Very, very nice on the U-turn. Very, very nice. And then we're back and running. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Simulated shifts. But even for front-wheel drive, it handles very well. Good steering feel. I just wish the steering had some vinyl on it, or some pleather. Just because it's an SV, it's not a base model. But I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised by how well this drives, especially for $24,000. There's just not a lot out there. And it's getting worse by the second. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall review to get your son out of your house, your 35-year-old son. We're gonna get back to Mas Nissan and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, another great day in so many ways here at Mas Nissan. Definitely got to thank Christian and the rest of the crew. Get us access to this SV trim. Remember, it's not top trim, SV trim of the Nissan Kicks. Let me know what you think. Most affordable? Are you liking it? Let me know your thoughts in that comment section. If you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. I'll come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rise family. Got to give it up to LGR. She's got her new hat on. She's got her new gloves to protect her hands from the sun. She is working it like a champ. So thank you, Lori, for being the best. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.